99X, Barnes and Leslie, this is your Morning X. Fram, I don't know if you've noticed in Nashville, but here in Atlanta, there have been some really crazy robo-taxis floating around. Do you guys have much of that there?
I don't know if it started here yet, but I have heard about this.
It is. I've seen it multiple times in Atlanta, and I've seen it in my neighborhood in Atlanta. It's this ugly car that... No, it is. And then when you look at it and see that there's no one in it, it's kind of disturbing. But it's called, I think, Cruise. I don't know what the whole name of the company is. I've got an expert, though. Good thing.
We need experts.
Yeah, I've got a hacker from Georgia State, as in Dr. Joseph Hacker. He is a professor of planning and economic development at Georgia State University. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Dude, you have the best name ever, first of all.
All right.
I mean, Dr. Hacker. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So the company is called Cruise, right? This company doing this?
That's right. It's Cruise, and I believe it's a subsidiary of General Motors.
How can they do this? Like, I have so many questions.
So do I.
Right.
How can they just launch these things on the street and not worry they're going to kill someone?
Well, they've had accidents in San Francisco, and they had supposedly in San Francisco they had a live driver in the automated car. So they had two systems fail at the same time, didn't they?
Wow.
They're saying this technology is a game changer. Just basically explain why to us.
Well, I don't know that it is a game changer because I'm not sure what problem it solves.
Well, it could be a game changer the other way. It could be a game changer in a bad way.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the kind of thing where they're still working on what they call the proof of concept here. How does it work? Where does it work? What would it look like? That kind of thing. And I'm not convinced right yet that they've worked out the kinks enough to just flood the market with them. I think they're experimenting, trying to figure that part out.
I drive a Tesla, and I've said that many times, and I have the full auto drive, which they advertise pretty much as it will do its thing by itself. But you do have to touch it like every 30 or 45 seconds, depending on how fast you're going. But I've had multiple times where the slightest change, either in the road, maybe something they've changed lines or whatever, or the car doesn't understand something, and it immediately jerks and tries to pull over or tries to stop.
Ooh.
And I can't imagine a car if I wasn't in the car to take over. That's really scary. What about the liability for Atlanta? Why does Atlanta allow this company to come and throw these on the streets?
I don't know what reasons Atlanta has for letting it do it, but I think the liability, that would be, after the question of, what problem it solves, I think that's the biggest issue, because if something happens, who gets sued? Who pays? Who's responsible? And you're absolutely right. If something happens and they could say, oh, the street is bad here, it's the city's fault, and then the city gets sued.
Right.
That's just, and your example with the Tesla is perfect. It's exactly right. If something, where all the little things that could cause it to jerk or swerve or anything to avoid something makes it a potential liability to the cars or the pedestrians around it.
Once again, we're talking to the expert, Joseph F. Hacker. He's a professor at Georgia State University. I do have a question. Remember when Uber first came out and it really hurt the taxi industry, especially in large cities? It seems like this were to happen, it would hurt the Uber industry.
And jobs.
It's always something that's coming out that's going to hurt the past. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. It would put drivers out of jobs. I'm sure plenty of these people are hoping that there are accidents with those things so that they don't have to compete with them.
Yeah, look how many people have taken a job driving Uber to make ends meet. You're talking about wiping out a significant part of that workforce, of the hustle
Absolutely.
culture. but just so many other things. There's so little room already for error. I hear people talking about, in 10 years, they're going to have auto-driving cars where we're all sitting and the 4 seats face each other.
Yep.
So you're going to get into a vehicle and be like you're at a dinner party. That just, I can't even imagine that Jetsonizing how we live. There's no way that's 10 years away.
Well, you're probably right. It probably would exist in limited amounts. And I also would say that, what's the example you're using, I've seen cars from the Netherlands that have that design.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The unpredictable traffic patterns that will come from these cars trying to ebb and flow and hard drive each other. You know what I mean?
How do you anticipate that? Exactly.
My take on it is that it's probably less dangerous and more predictable in things like freeway traffic, where you're going relatively straight. And I know that there are occasionally, crazy drivers, but think about it like in a pedestrian area where people are lurching across lights, at red lights and every which way. But I think, I remember, I just have this idea that it would be simpler along corridors and along freeways,
right,
where you're not competing with entirely random behaviors. I know there's erratic drivers. You're never going to get around that.
But you're making it more complex now because they exit and then you jump out and you have to figure out the rest of it. But you brought up a key point, and you're down at Georgia State, Professor Hacker, and you know that in Atlanta, a red light is only a suggestion that you slow down and stop.
Absolutely.
These people are crazy. All right. Thank you very much, Professor. It's so interesting, but keep an eye out for these vehicles. They say cruise on them, and they have little blinking lights on the top, and looks like speakers and craziness, and there's no one inside the seat, so stay away. Have a great day, Dr. Hacker.
Thank you.
Oh, have a great day, you two all.
The Morning X with Barnes and Leslie. 99X.